Hey guys, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your brow expert. I hope that with all the brows that I show you guys, that you're able to pick up some tips and definitely share it with anyone that you know that can use this tip. So I've been shaping eyebrows for well over, 20 years, almost 25 years at the Anastasia Salon in Beverly Hills. So please come by, say hello, and definitely get your brows done. And yeah, I've been around brows for so long. I always thought that, brows, how long can you go with eyebrows? It's probably the most difficult, I think, in getting it right and getting it the best kind of brow that you think is best for you, right? I mean, putting lipstick on or just some blush or basic makeup is fairly easy enough, but eyebrows is a whole other beast. Anyway, so I'm here to help you guys out in that area because it is something that I know if you do get the tips, if you get a better brow, it shapes your whole face, makes it look so much more balanced, makes you feel better. And whether you wear a lot of makeup or not, which I think if you wear less makeup, if you're getting older or more mature like myself, I'm much older now. I think 55 years old. I forget now. But the older you get, the less makeup you want to put on, right? So the better eyebrow you have that balances with your face, the less you have to do everything else. Now, I'm not saying you don't need makeup. So I think you still do. At least for me, I do, especially concealer because it helps block off any kind of extra sun. I mean, I use sunscreen, but the concealer is like that extra sun block that I need. So a little bit of makeup is, I think, always ideal, even on your casual days. So enough about the sunblock. Well, that's important, right? Okay, so getting back to the brow shape, as you can see, I still use myself as the model as well. So you can see how to do your own brows holding the pencil or the powder, but you will also see me explaining what I'm doing and how I'm doing the brow shaping. So this client you might relate with. If you don't, I know you know someone because this eyebrow is very common. I mean, I see this quite a bit, and that's partly because we've over tweezed. As you can see from my eyebrows, if you're a child of the 70s or 80s, and so you got into the over tweezing era, this is probably the result of that. But just know that it's not entirely your fault. Hairs do diminish, follicles do die off. You can't remake new follicles, but you can certainly try to keep the hair as healthy as possible. Just like your head of hair, you need to keep the roots nice and healthy. And I have a video on that. If you scroll down, I do talk about healthy follicles. But I'll get more into that maybe on another time. You just need to fix that little pocket right underneath there. And when I say fix, I mean just apply some color in that little area, and it makes a world of difference. This brow that I'm going to show you in a second, I got a little fancy with it using a waterproof dip brow. Now that's important to consider. If you have a lot more skin than you do hair, then you're going to want something that lasts all day. When you put color on top of your own brow hair, just to make it even darker, it stays on longer. But if you put color on your skin, we all know it doesn't last as long. So if you're used to using a powder or pencil, you may want to put some of that on as kind of a background or a very light application. You don't want to press that hard. So you just dust a little bit of color on there. Then you can put some waterproof in that pocket, because I know that so many of you guys have that skin area exposed. So if we put some waterproof in there, I can guarantee it's going to stay on all day. So here's a client that I shaped eyebrows for. Now, fairly easy enough, right? What I talked about earlier about that pocket that she has right underneath there. She actually has a full set of eyebrows right up in the front. So it's going to be easier for me to create that illusion. But I will still wax underneath that eyebrow, but I will show you on the outline. I'm making an outline with just some powder just to give you guys an idea that that's the look I'm going for. At least that's the area I'm going to mainly focus on. And underneath that outline, she has a lot of hair fuzz. You may not see it as much. Trust me, when I'm waxing eyebrows, this is a lot of things I see when the light shines right on it. Why is it important to wax underneath that outline? Because it's going to create a thicker look. When you get rid of that fuzz all underneath, it just gives it more of a defined look to the eyebrow. So again, now if you don't, you can probably leave this outline and draw around it, meaning put the dip brow or the pomade That's what it is. It's the pomade waterproof over that. So it kind of adds as a guide, but I'm going to show you another way to create that outline. Okay, so again, that is what we're going to focus on, and this is what we shaped. Now, if you notice underneath that white outline I'm showing you, she actually has some hair right there, and so that's going to serve as a guide for her. Now, I use the highlighter because it also helps in separating where the fuzz hair is and right where you're going to put the dip brow on. So if I do it just on the skin, I'm creating a border. See that? So that's going to help me to get real fancy. Now, you don't have to get fancy like I did, but if you want to try it out, definitely it's makeup, right? You could just take it off if it doesn't come out right. So I'm using just my favorite brush 18. These are all by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And so you could get it on the website with all the products that I'm using. I will list them. But this is the brush 18. It's great because you can really get real precise and get it right where you want to create that extra border. This is the ash brown dip brow. I'm using the ebony. You can use quite a few different colors, but you don't need much. Look at that. I've just grabbed a tiny bit. The reason why you don't need much because it spreads quite a bit. So just, you could always add more, right? Now use my hand as to break down the product. If you use your hand, it can warm it up. So that's also another good tip. If you just use your hand and spread the product out, it makes it really easy. And you notice that the brush is being spread down this way. You never lay down this way. You want to go side by side because then the brush gets nice and sharp. Okay, so that's another important thing. Always have like a tissue on hand when you're using some kind of a pomade because it just really cleans everything up. Prevents any kind of mess, but there will be some messes. Now notice that I'm using the longest part of the brush. Now, longest meaning the longer part of that brush right there. Look at that. I'm going in that direction. So I'm applying very light pressure. I say light pressure because the lighter you press, the finer those lines are. Now, again, you don't have to do this way. You can actually just put some of the dip brow more, just kind of your way of putting on powder. But try it this way and see if it works. Now, I'm moving the hair off the side because when you're creating lines like that with skin and then hair around there, you want to make sure that you get the product inside that hair area so it blends in. You don't want to see color and then hair separated. There will be a little bit of an outline, a white outline there. So you want to make sure that that color blends in. Remember, it's also about kind of creating a little bit of a optical illusion. Brush the hair down because I always like a little bit at the top right here. I like to apply some right there just so that, again, it's all about dispersing the color to blend a little bit. Now, you're going to see I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to add some color right in at the front. She doesn't need much, if any, color at the top right. I mean, up at the front. But I like to blend some of that pomade throughout very lightly. So there's like this kind of cohesive look to the color, and it blends in with her own hair. Okay, so let me try this as you guys are looking at that, or me. I'm, again, using very light pressure, and I'm just creating this little line. See that line? And I'm going in an angle, and if I use a longer part of the brush and just apply very light pressure, this actually can work. Now, if you do this, and you're like, oh, I'm going to stop there. You can actually. You can just put some powder there. Now look at that white outline that I showed you guys right up in the front. Her brows here are fanning out. A lot of you guys have this eyebrow. You can trim it, trim little pieces, snip it, but I personally like that. I think it gives that extra natural look. Now, again, I did these little angles and I'm going back and forth. Now, I did put, I'm using the clear brow gel to really merge everything together, thickening her hair, making it look like it's nice and combed, more polished. At this point, you can always go back and forth, and I always do. Once I get the hair standing up and it's nice and set, then I can go back and see, oh, where are the areas that I missed? And yeah, and I'll go up in the front. And right up in the front, if you do have hair like her, you want to just glide a little bit of color, but with this dip brow pomade, you really don't need much up in the front, especially on top of the hair. It catches the color more, makes it look a little darker. So that's pretty much it, really. And so I'm just going to be very conservative with my eyebrows, but this looks pretty good. I kind of like this. I think I'm going to start wearing this. Obviously, I'm not doing this, so this brow is looking a little crazy, but you guys get the point, right? Here is the before, and here I'm going to show you guys the after. Look at that. Big difference, right? Just focusing in that lower pocket makes a big difference. And if you saw her overall face, you can see that it matches also with her face, because when we have a wider face, especially on myself, like myself, she actually does have a wider forehead. You want it to be fuller right there so it balances. Now I'm going to blend out some of this highlighter just so that it has a smoother look, and you guys won't look at me like if I'm a little crazy here. Okay, so, and always blend that highlighter. Whether you're using a highlighter or concealer, you want to always blend that out. So what do you guys think? I know this looks very different from this side. I hope you guys got this tip. If you like this, please give me a like. Definitely give me a comment if you like the series that I'm doing, where I'm using these clients that I've shaped eyebrows for. And definitely subscribe. Share this with someone that you know can use this tip. And I will see you guys right back here. Thank you for your time.